So today we have the opportunity to learn from a master of massive action. He's going to teach us how to sell 40 plus houses a year, how to leverage buyer systems, making working with buyers better than working with sellers, the latest in lead generation sources, and he's somebody who is in the trenches. He practices what he preaches. Everybody please stand up, put your hands together for Colton.
Hello. Can everybody hear me okay? Am I talking way too loud? All right. If that gets too loud, just tell me to be quiet. All right. So I'm going to be talking about lead conversion. And it is a topic that I really am passionate about because I got into real estate and I don't like real estate. I've never liked selling real estate. I still don't like selling real estate. I know that is very strange considering what I do for a living. However, I had my daughter when I was 16 years old. So when I ended up, well, her mom did all the work, I participated, but we had her when we were 16. So my daughter's almost 18 years old now. Oh yeah, I have the clicker. So my daughter's almost 18 years old. So I had to get into real estate just because there was really no other choice. Like I didn't know what I was gonna do. My parents couldn't afford college. So I was like, okay, real estate's gonna be my thing. And for those, if you know me personally, you know this is very true. I am introverted. Like this is my personal nightmare. So I can fake it through it for work. I can fake it through it with business. But what I found out is real estate, in order to sell a lot of houses, we have to have a whole lot of conversations with people. And for an introvert, that is literally your worst nightmare. So what I wanted to find out is how can I have my conversations and as few of them as possible turn into a massive amount of closings. And in order for us to accomplish that, we really have to focus on the key performance indicators, KPIs, that lead to strong lead conversion. So I'm gonna talk, like the reason that this is so important to me, that was a little later. That kid with the Justin Bieber guy-lighted hair with the Affliction t-shirt, yep, that's me holding the baby. My daughter will tell you we grew up together. And like I remember starting, and I remember like getting into real estate, and I remember everybody when you're 16 years old, they tell you you're not gonna accomplish anything. So I really wanted to make sure that wasn't going to be our story. I genuinely did want to make sure that she had the life that she wanted to live. I wanted to be able to raise it. But the problem is when I got started, and it was in 2008 in Las Vegas, and the market was the absolute worst it could have possibly been, I just worked hard. And I had a dad who displayed to me what work ethic was. And so I always knew I could work hard, and I subscribed to the double down, work harder philosophy. If you're not getting the results that you want, work harder, they're gonna show up. And I did that. And I did it for a really long time. How many of you guys in here are parents? Okay, there's a lot of us. And any aspiring parents? Cool. Listen to this, because I'm telling you, if you do what I did, you will regret it. So my daughter, if you know me, you know I freaking tear up every time I talk about my daughter. And I'm gonna try not to. But when we ended up like doing what we were doing, and I was working, and her mom and I split up early, we're best friends. I'm the godfather to her and her baby brother. I'm the godfather to her siblings. So we're very close. So I already had half of my time without my daughter, and it drove me insane. But I knew in order to be successful, I was having to spend all of this time working. And now fast forward, I didn't realize it because I was unintentionally writing pages into this book of life that every single one of us are writing. And when I look back on the pages that have been written, I have a shit ton of regret. And the regret comes from working weekends nonstop, working literally 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. And like she tells me today, she constantly tries to reassure me that, Dad, I never felt like that. But I look back at the pages that I've already written, and if I could, I would go back in time, I'd smack that stupid kid in the face, and I would tell him that you need to slow down. And you need to be more intentional with the actions that you are taking, because the pages that I was recklessly burning through, you're never gonna get them back. And it's like now, those pages for me are a horror story. And if I could, I would go back in time and I would make that kid realize doubling down and working harder and doing this, like busy is not a badge of honor. And it really literally for me was the only thing that I subscribed to. And then I got really intentional. And I was like, if we can focus more on generating, like most agents just want to generate more opportunities and we want to generate more leads. And it's like, if we can stop focusing on that, and if we can start doing better with the leads that we already have, the leads that are sitting in your pipeline today, from whether it's the sweat equity that you put into open houses, prospecting, however you generate leads, if we slowed down and we are more intentional on doing better with the leads that we already had, we wouldn't have to sacrifice so much time. Because what I know for an absolute fact is, and we track this, and I get when I talk about tracking, this is where people kind of like, I don't want to track, I get it. But if an agent has to have 100 conversations to close one deal, I certainly don't want you to have 200 to close two. Because we can absolutely help you improve your skill sets so that you can, out of those same exact 100 conversations, you've done the output, getting more of those conversations to turn into conversion. And the way that we do it, and the way that I want that we track this, I want you to imagine that this was long enough to do all of this in one line. You have leads that you guys have generated. And then you have attempted contact. So we've generated a lead, whether that was a geographic farm, whether it was a cold call, whether it was a referral. It doesn't matter, but it all starts at a lead. We're going to attempt contact. We eventually speak to them. Our goal is to set more appointments. Our goal with the people that we set is to meet. The goal of the people that we meet is to sign. The people that we sign, we want to get them to submitting offers, we want to get them pended, and we want to get them closed. So what most agents don't realize is there is best practices that you can follow between each of these KPIs to improve the performance of each one. So for example, a lead, if you never pick up the phone and call them, you're never going to talk to them. If you don't ever text them, you're never going to get a hold of them. So this one's the easy one. Call them. Call them enough times where you can, so you can get them to an attempted contact. And then we want to call them enough times so that we can eventually speak to them. And where I'm going to spend most of my time today is helping people turn more of the conversations that they're having into appointments being set. Because this is truly one of the biggest, most ignored tools in your toolbox. And I'm going to show you the tactical ways to deal with the difficult conversations. Because by the way, are the conversations you guys are having, are they more difficult than what we have seen in a very long time? People are priced out. Like in our market, if you take the median income to buy a median priced home, they would have to use 82% of their household income to afford a median priced home. You can't buy it. Lenders in here, can we get a mortgage for that? No. So the reason that the pool of buyers is so incredibly small is because people are completely priced out. Now, so the entire thing that we're going to focus on is how do we identify the people who are truly opportunity, and then how do we cut through all the noise that's inevitably being pushed across their phones and by their parents and everybody else. Because if you can increase your if you can increase your conversion rate by literally 0.2%, you will see a 25% increase in income. 0.2% increase in conversion, extra 25% in commission income. So how do you do it? You get more of the leads that you have to actually speak to you. You get more of the people that you speak to agree to set an appointment with you. Naturally, the organic byproduct of that is you're going to meet with more people. The byproduct of that, because you all have a conversion on this now. You have a performance rate of each of these KPIs, but the reality of it is most of us just don't know what it is. So if you're trying to increase the conversion, you simply have to get more of the people that we generate as opportunities to here. But you have to intentionally put pressure. I usually call these buckets. I need to take, if I have the 100 leads, I need to take as many of these leads as possible and put them into the attempt to contact bucket, and then get them into the spoke to bucket, and try to get as many of them as I can here. But what you'll end up tracking, and again, I want you to picture this as one pipeline. You have a kink in your pipeline. And what matters is, where is your kink? Because for a lot of people, it's here to here. They have opportunities, they have people that they're meeting with, but they don't know how to handle the difficult objections that are inevitably getting thrown at them. Therefore, you never set the appointment with them. And if you can just get more of the conversations that we're having, whether it be in person, whether it be digitally, if we can just get more of them to set the appointment, naturally, you're going to meet with more people, we're going to submit more contracts, we're going to pen more deals, and we're going to close. So that's what we're going to focus on today. But first, we have to fix the foundational problem that almost every single agent goes through. And what I love is most people got into real estate because we want to make our own schedule, we want to do our own thing, we want to be our own boss. But the funny thing about when we become our own boss is most people who here worked a 9 to 5 before they got into real estate. Most of us did. And when you did that, We had a kid on our team who literally would go to Starbucks every single morning at 4 a.m. He would show up at the same time every single day. He would take out the trash, he would change the coffee filters, he'd mop the floors, I don't know what he did. But he would do those things for a low paying an hour job every single day because he knows if he didn't do those things, he would have gotten fired. So he got sick and tired of it, and one day he finally decided, okay, now I'm done with this. I'm done trading my time for somebody else's money. Now I want to go trade my time to build my own life, to build my own dreams, to reach my own goals. I want to do the things that I want to build. And then we get into real estate. We become the coolest boss that we've ever had and literally the most fireable employee of all time. And the reason, we don't have a boss. If you don't want to get up in the morning because you were up too late last night, your boss is cool with it. Like, you don't have to show up on time. You don't have to follow or adhere to a schedule that's going to be conducive for your success. You don't have to do any of the things that we know we need to do as real estate agents because there's nobody on the other side of this that says, hey, if you don't do the thing that's required of this position, you're not going to get fired. You're the best boss you have ever had, but you abandon the very disciplines that made you employable in the first place. And I can tell you with an absolute fact, if we had a camera that, not you guys, let me be clear, we're not talking about you guys because I know none of you are guilty of this. But if we sent a camera to just go follow people around and see how they live their day, you'd be able to identify within the first 13 minutes why they're unsuccessful. You can, because they constantly are excusing themselves for not doing the things that they need to be doing because we always are leaning towards comfort. Like, us as humans, we are designed to lean into what's comfortable in the moment. And unfortunately, the things that create our success, they're never easy in the moment. Nobody wants to pick up the phone and talk to people that don't want to buy or sell real estate. Nobody wants to get up and do the open house. Nobody wants to spend time away from their family. Nobody wants to do the things that are required of us in order to be successful. So because there's so many things that are comfortable for us not to do in the moment, it creates a really difficult future for us ahead. And it's like, that's the thing that I try to focus on, is at any given point in time, if I feel like I'm leaning into comfort, I'm immediately going to switch it and go do the thing that would be uncomfortable. Because I know anything good in life always comes from doing the difficult thing in the moment to create the easy future. Somebody just said, I think he just said, Brent and Gove has something for that. And this is the part, sorry. They tell you eventually you stop getting nervous when you do these. It's never happened, I still do. Oh, it's fine, I'm just not gonna get used to it. So this is where I really do piss off a lot of agents. And it's, if you have no escrows right now, you are unemployed. And if you're unemployed, I don't understand agents who just casually walk through their days knowing that you got kids at home, knowing that you got a spouse, knowing that you got bills to be paid, knowing that you say you have these big goals, but when we were to evaluate the last 90 days of your activities, your actions absolutely do not align with those goals. It's like, I don't understand that if you have no escrows, why we are not attacking each day with an absolute intention to make sure that in the next 90 days, that's not going to be your problem anymore. So the thing, and this happens, so you get out of your 9-to-5 job, you abandon the disciplines that made you employable, you get into real estate, and you burn through so much time, and you end up burning, like I always tell people, I don't want to get ahead of myself, yeah it is. I'm going to stop following slides because it just throws me off. Real estate is like a runway. And you have only so much runway to be able to pick up enough speed to where you're going to get enough momentum and you get enough lift under the wings so that you can finally take off. And the vast majority of agents get put onto the runway, they floor the throttle, they get really intentional, they get really tenactic, and then it doesn't get the jump, so they put it back in idle. And then they go find another thing to do, and they start doing that thing, and they do it for a little while, it doesn't create the immediate results, so they put it back in neutral. And then they go find another lead generator, they go do it for a little while, they don't give it enough time, and then they put it back in. If you guys got in an airplane and felt the pilot pin it, neutral, pin it, neutral, you guys would all start to panic because you know, unless they give that thing enough thrust, enough speed, you're gonna crash and burn with everybody in that plane because they didn't do the thing long enough to give that thing enough speed to where it would finally take off. And our careers are absolutely no different than that. And what eventually ends up happening is you did that, you burned through all of your runway, and unless you got the sugar mama, sugar daddy, or a trust fund, you don't have unlimited time to start generating a meaningful enough income to pay your guys' bills. Like, we have to start eventually making money, and then you get forced back into the workforce, back at a 9-to-5, so you start showing up on time. So you start doing the things that are required of you in that position because you know if you don't, you get fired. Because in real estate, we show up, we don't do the thing, nobody gets fired. You don't make your calls, you don't do the open houses, you don't do your door knocking, you don't call your leads, you don't do your follow-ups, and guess what? Nobody gets fired. But eventually, you run out of runway, and you get forced back into the workforce, trading your time building somebody else's dream. And the part that pisses me off the most about it is it's 100% avoidable if you just focus on doing the right things for long enough. Because if you're doing the right things, all you need is time for those things to start generating the return. And I do understand that we are in a really, really, really difficult market right now. I do get that. But our success does depend on us treating this like we do have a boss. You have to babysit yourself. You have to make yourself do the things that you know you need to do in order to generate the type of success that you said you were committed to achieving. But again, if you go evaluate the last 90 days worth of activity, does that 90 days worth of activity align with the goals that you've committed to? How many of you would be happy if your spouse were to see inside that last 90 days worth of activity or lack of? Like, there's a lot of agents who just trick themselves into thinking that they're being busy. So what I'm gonna focus on before I get into the lead conversion stuff, because I told you, I don't like real estate. So I like to get really, really great results out of as little effort as possible because I don't wanna have to have a billion conversations with people. But it literally does start on one, identifying where things are. Like, most agents will tell you that they need more hours in the day. And the reality of it is, you just gotta stop wasting the hours that you already have. Most agents think that they're being productive, and this is where we see my team with it all the time, but they don't actually know how much time that they're spending on the low dollar an hour activities that absolutely are not gonna create any meaningful results. So you do need to find out what is it that you're doing all day. And this is a thing that I know because I've done this a million times. Everybody shakes their head at this. I'm like, yeah, for sure, like this makes sense. But then you're gonna go home and you're not gonna do it. And I promise you, for the people who actually commit to this, and by the way, you guys saw, I think you guys had the worst June that you've had in ever? Okay, what do you think is gonna happen come October, November, and December? Do you feel it's gonna be any better? We're in the booming season right now. So if you're not opening your eyes to, oh crap, the market's not going to save me, you do have to make a decision and decide, I'm gonna start swimming because I'm not waiting for the momentum of the market to pick my business back up again. So what we got to identify is how are we spending our days now and how can we improve this? By the way, I have a spreadsheet that you can do this. It's like a fax machine version. You can literally go into ChatGPT and you can tell ChatGPT, I'm a realtor, and I want to conduct a 3-day, 30-minute time in motion assessment. And what the time in motion assessment will do, and ChatGPT will know exactly what you're talking about, and you're going to tell it, I want you to remind me every 30 minutes to stop. And whatever you're doing, you're gonna stop doing it, and you're gonna write down every single thing that you did within that 30-minute period. It's 3 days worth of a study, and you need to be willing to take 3 days worth of this study from whatever your work hours are. You guys are realtors, I know it's really not, but let's just say you started at 8 and you stopped at 5, because I know we all do that. And it's like, let's just go write down every single thing that you did, whether it was a cold call, whether it was talking to somebody wasting time, whether you picked up a phone call from a friend, every single thing that you do, you're gonna write it down. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but I'm telling you it will be one of the most eye-opening exercises that you have ever done. Now, every call, every text, every email, every property, everything that you did, and just know that if you lie, the only person that you are cheating is yourself. Because the entire goal of this, when you're done, at the end of the 3 days, you're gonna, and by the way, the cool thing about ChatGPT or any AI that you do this in, is it will literally do it for you. And you can say, okay, now I want you to categorize each of these things that I did into one of 3 buckets. It was a money-making activity, it was a necessary thing that needed to be done, but it doesn't make me money, administrative type work, or it was a time waster. So you're gonna go break everything down into one of those 3 buckets. ChatGPT will do it for you. If you see, and by the way, when you guys do this, you will see that the vast majority of the things that you are doing is not a revenue generating activity. The vast majority of the things that we do is administrative work, emails, the type of things that we're gonna get to how we fix it. But you will see if you have anything less than that 70% just being focused on revenue generating activities, understand that your schedule is broken. And the thing that you immediately want to do from that is try to offset it so that you start doing more of those activities, because output gets input. Output are the things that we do to generate conversations about buying and selling real estate. Input is the money that you put into your bank account. If you want more input, you increase your output. But in order to do that, we got to find out how much of our output is being wasted towards something that will never create input. That's our focus. So we're going to go through, go back. How do I go back? There you go. Now, any of the things that are not money-making, emails, property alerts, setting up searches, scheduling inspections, whatever, setting up vendors for photography, all of those things can be delegated. And by the way, if you're like, well, I can't afford to hire an assistant, right now, understand you're probably the assistant, which is more than okay, because that's a chapter every single one of us has lived on. But virtual assistants are something that is so underutilized. They're wildly inexpensive. You can hire somebody in the Philippines who, by the way, they're bawling out of control because they're making a lot more income than what they could there in the Philippines. They can go do all of this stuff for you, and they can do a lot of the time-wasting things that you're going to do. So once we identify the things that we're wasting time on, you're going to end up going to what I call, where'd it go? Where's the 4 Ds? Did I skip it? Oh, he may have missed it. Okay, so there's the 4D framework, and the 4D framework is when you identify all of the things on that list. You're going to have things that you need to do. There's going to be things that you need to delegate, so do it, delegate it, defer it, or delete it. And I do this every single day. And by the way, the perfect day starts the night before. So I look at all the things that need to be accomplished the next day, and you're going to identify, and you're going to put those things on that list. Everybody has a to-do list. You're going to put it on the do it, defer it, delete it, or delegate it. Do it means you personally are the only one that has the ability to do it. Defer it means this is something that needs to be done, but it doesn't need to be done. It doesn't need to be done now, so I can schedule it to be done later, whether that's going to be after your hours, whether it's going to be next week. But now you're going to have, this is a stupid time waster. I'm simply going to delete it. And then delegate is this an activity that I can simply hand off to somebody else, whether it be a virtual assistant, a personal assistant, a production partner, any of the people that you have in your life that you can delegate things to. That's what we got to go do, because you're only going to go focus on what are the do it things. And it's immediately going to separate out the high dollar an hour activities that if you focus on only that and you accomplish on knocking those things out in the day, you're clearly going to be more successful because you stop wasting the things that you need to delete, defer, or delegate. So we're going to make sure, and this is a part where, who here has time block calendar? Okay, less than I thought. All right. So most agents do have something, most agents do eventually time block, because that's something, if you're part of Tom Ferry, any of the coaching companies will tell you how important having a time block on your calendar is. It means because at this time of the day, here's what I'm going to be doing. If you guys had a $2 million listing appointment today, at 10 o'clock, would you be here? No, because you have a $2 million listing appointment at 10 o'clock that you know if you don't go to, you're going to miss out on income, so that's a priority for you. So prospecting time, for most people, is between the hours of 9 o'clock and 12 o'clock. And I constantly catch people on my team, and I'll walk out, and it's not like militant, I promise you. What you doing? Well, I'm sending a contract. Why? It's 9 o'clock. You're supposed to be prospecting. Well, I know, but I had to do this thing. My client required, I got to send the contract in. It's like, cool. The litmus test for this is, if this were a $2 million listing appointment, would you be sending this contract at this time, or would you have figured it out otherwise? And 9 times out of 10, the answer is, I would have done it before, I would have done it after. And it's like, we choose the one time of our day, the prospecting time, the having conversation time, the one time of the day that if adhered to and complied with, you will create multiple of those $2 million listing appointments. It's like, I would rather you blow off one $2 million listing appointment than create a habit out of removing the time from your schedule that is guaranteed to create more of those appointments for you in the future. But yet, that's the time block that you guys are responsible for, the time block that you know you need to do. Conversations lead to closings. The time that I spend prospecting and following up with my leads, that's the time that most agents allow to be the most negotiable on their calendar, and it's insane to do. So why are we doing it during our time block? And it's not that people have a time management problem, people have a choice management problem. You don't have a boss who's going to tell you if you don't do the thing that you were supposed to do when you're supposed to do it, you guys don't get fired. But if you have inconsistent income, if you have inconsistent closings, nobody likes to hear it, but the success or the failure that you are feeling, you have 100% created. And if you're a new agent, that doesn't mean you. So long as you start doing the right things, the second you taxi onto the runway, if you're doing the right things, you're focusing on the output, you're focusing on the conversations, now all you need is enough time for those things to create a result for you. But so many of us are just wildly, wildly mismanaged when it comes to the things that are going to generate more of that business for us in the future. So the thing that who here has a CRM? Hopefully everybody raises their hand. If you're not raising your hand, just pretend. Because you should at some point have a CRM that you're living and breathing out of. Because one, technology is getting amazing, and these CRMs are doing a substantial amount of the work for you. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because it's not very tactical, but your CRM, your calls, your texts, your emails, we have a rule in our office, every call, every text, every email, it has to go through the CRM. Because without the CRM, you don't know who to pay attention to. You don't know how to keep proximity to the right people. You don't know how to identify who, especially if you're doing enough output, you've got a lot of leads sitting in your pipeline. And it's like, all we need to do is find out, because if I look at an agent, we just did our quarterly review. And if I have an agent that's not pacing for their goals, I don't start here. We start here. Hey, you're supposed to have 5 in escrow right now. You have 2. Might not be a big deal. Let's go see how many you have pending, because you may have 3 pending, and if so, you've got enough pending that's going to bridge the gap from where you committed to where you want to be. But if you don't have any pending, ruh-roh, because now we're starting to run into a problem. Well, that's okay. Who do we have in your car right now that's actively submitting contracts? Who do we have that's the closest to being your next pending so that we can get them closed, so we can bridge this gap from where you're supposed to be, from where you're actually at? And if they say nobody, big ruh-roh, because now we're going to be looking, okay, well, who do we have committed? Who are your committed buyer brokerage agreements, people who have signed a long-term, not a single property show, who are long-term committed people? Because our job needs to be go to pay as much time and effort to these people so that we can hurry up and get them to start submitting offers, so that we can then get them pended, so that we can then get them closed. But this all takes time. So the things that we start doing today are eventually going to feed this, but we know I'm going to start doing the thing and the results are going to be delayed. Now, if we don't have anybody here, this is where we really run into a big problem for most agents. Well, who have we met that we have failed to sign? Because I consider this, you guys are all amazing first daters, or you're not. Like, our job as real estate agents, when we meet with somebody, whether it's a consultation, whether it's a lender appointment, whether it's a seller, whatever you do, your job is to show up being your absolute best version of yourself. And if you never get people to the secondary showing, or if you never get people to the second appointment, or if you never get people to signed, you can't blame the leads. Because if I told you guys, hey, I went on 100 dates, and I asked every single girl to please go on a date with me again. And if all 100 told me no, and I was like, guys, these Orange County girls are crazy, you'd be like, is it you or is it them? Because I bet you you're doing something. You're being a creep, you're being rude, you're not being funny, you're being boring, you're being a jerk. Like, whatever it is, you did something that gave those people zero interest in meeting with you again. When you guys are meeting with clients, that's your first date. And if you show up like the Vanna White realtors of the world, like, welcome to this 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home, it's listed at $900,000, here's the beautiful pool, here's the beautiful, they know. That's not magnetizing. That doesn't give any value, but the vast majority of people show up to a first appointment adding a zero value to the consumer and giving them zero reason to want to chase you versus you having to chase them. At this point, like, this is where we meet people. You are showing somebody that I'm going to give you access to off markets that without me, you're not going to have access to. We're going to create inventory for you with our home matchmaking service, where if there's not the right opportunity available for you, this is exactly how we're going to go create that inventory in the areas that you're looking for and identify those perfect homes. We're going to talk about the things that right now, affordability and interest rates, everybody's biggest challenge. So why are we not offering solutions to affordability? 3-2-1 buy downs, which, by the way, no consumer knows what it is, and I'll talk to you guys about how you explain it. But like, hey, so here's what we do, and everybody write this one thing down. This is what you're going to ask on every single appointment on the very first date, because your job is to identify a pain point. Now, how do you identify a pain point? You ask. Hey, I've been talking to a lot of buyers and sellers, and the sentiment is very clear. People are frustrated. What's been one of the biggest obstacles or frustrations that you've been experiencing in the marketplace? What's been one of the biggest frustrations that you've been experiencing in the marketplace? They're going to give you the pain that they're feeling in today's market. Your job is to then show them how you can clearly provide the solution for whatever that pain point is. So if it's somebody who says, I haven't found the right property, some other. If it's somebody who says, I haven't found the right property, it's like, hey, well, where have you been looking at homes? And they're gonna be like, well, I've been looking online. Got it. So what we have found is the nicest homes and the best deals, they typically sell well before they ever hit the market. If I could get you connected to a network of off markets, would that be helpful for your home search? What do most people say? Yeah, awesome. So the next step would be for us to set up a quick 15 to 20 minute strategy session so we can see if we have any of these that would be a perfect fit. Does virtually or in person work better for you? Our job on every single appointment, live by BAM-FAM, book a meeting from a meeting. Every single phone call, every single text message, every single appointment, every interaction with the consumer you have to try to conclude it with setting the next appointment so you can tie them to the next event. Because your ability to tie them to the next event is gonna get more of the people that you meet to put yourself in a position, a buyer broker consultation, to where I can truly show them the value that I'm going to bring. If somebody talks about interest rates and affordability, assumable mortgages are an amazing tool. 12% of our sales this year are all off market. So what we're doing, how are we getting those off markets? One, we use, this isn't a brokerage pitch, a lot of brokerages have some of this, but we have what's called EXP exclusives. We have our own personal within our team, like we have our own network of off markets. But most importantly, a lot of those off markets are coming from us doing searches with high sales scores and finding the assumable mortgages within them. Because if I could get you connected to a mortgage where you could assume their 3 to 4% interest rate, is that something that would be valuable for you in your home search? What do you think people say? Awesome. The next step is, and then you tell them what the next step is. The next step is for us to set up a quick 30-minute consultation so I can see if that would be an option for you. Does virtually or in person work better for you? Like every single meeting, face-to-face, digital to digital, you have to have an ask that's gonna secure the next appointment. So this one for me, this is, if you don't get enough people from met to signed or submitted, I know you're not necessarily doing anything wrong, but you're not doing anything right either. Your job is to make sure that they leave that meeting knowing that you're the undeniable best choice. And if you're not saying things that show the value that you provide, which most agents don't, if you're not telling them the things that make you valuable, why would they be magnetized to you? Because aren't we a dime a dozen? We're everywhere. The good ones are very rare. The typical Vanna White realtors of the world who do the exact same thing every single day and they don't provide any value other than opening up doors and writing contracts, like that's the issue. So our focus is when you're tracking these numbers, is met my kink in the hose? Is this where I'm losing most people because I don't show up in a way that makes them knowing a relationship with this person is going to be beneficial for my future? That has to be your goal. And if you're not showing up to the very first appointment, showing them exactly that, you need to unkink that hose so that more of your mets turn into signs. Because from here, if you add more leads and you do all this follow-up and you do all this prospecting just to get them to this point that you can't get people through anyway, what's the point of adding more leads to your pipeline? You have to be able to progress more of these people through here so we can get them to the sign phase. This would be the primary kink that I would try to fix in your pipeline. But then if they haven't met anybody, now we run into an output issue. Because now we go to, well, have you set any appointments? No. Well, who have you spoken to? Nobody. Well, okay, well then you're just lazy and you're not committed to doing this in the first place, so why are we having the conversation? Because if output is your issue, you guys already know you're in a market where output is so critically important. But in order for you to know, because if I have somebody who's got a ton of people in this stage, I'm not gonna send them back to stage 1 to generate more leads. I'm gonna make them go back into MET to have more conversations with the people who have already seen their smiling face and go add value, and we're gonna talk about that, so that we can progress them through the pipeline and get them flowing through so we can get them submitting offers, so we can get them dependent, so we can get them to close. So, but in order for you to even know that, you have to have a freaking CRM that tells you who's in what bucket so that I can go put intentionality into that one bucket, doing the one thing that's gonna progress more of these people to here and more of these people to here. And I'm actually gonna show you how to do that today. So the other part, see, this is why I shouldn't have slides. I already did all this. Let me get here. So, we talked about ChatGPT. You guys should already know about that. Making sure for our time blocking, like who here has this is all done. Do it if you wanted this, the do it, defer it, delegate it, and delete it framework. This is whatever is on your task list. Truthfully, please make sure you do this because anything that doesn't require you to do, and the problem is you guys think you have to do a lot of the things that you absolutely don't need to do. Like they're like, well, I'm the only one who can do it right. It's like, none of us are that special. You can absolutely show somebody with the right type of training how to do the things that you do. And even if you can teach them to do it to 70 to 80% of your quality, and you can scale yourself to just go focus on the things that actually require you to do, that actually create revenue, It doesn't matter because you're going to scale your production and you're going to scale your productivity so much more by just you doing the things that you're absolutely great at. And the rest of it can absolutely be scaled. So, this is why I shouldn't have it. Now, we're going to talk about the perfect day for a real estate agent because this is something, and we're going to solely get into the output and the skill set stuff. The perfect day for a real estate agent should rely on really these things: skill building and preparation. This is something that agents don't like to do, but if you're in our office, you role play an objection handle with me every single day from 8 o'clock to 8:30. If you're not on those meetings, you're not on our team. So that's the standards that we have set. You're going to have prospecting time. The big issue is most people blur the line between what prospecting is and follow-up is. Prospecting is you're only talking to people whom you have never spoken to before because you're having new conversations with people so that you can create more leads. You're adding new people to your pipeline because if any of you guys this year had somebody who you thought was ready and then they backed out and got on the fence, it's happening to all of us. So we don't blur the lines between what prospecting is because we constantly got to be adding new people to our pipeline, and then we need to be progressing people through our pipeline. Prospecting adds to, follow-up progresses through. The other component, and by the way that you progress people through is we have amazing skill set that I'm going to teach you guys here in a minute that's going to turn those conversations into appointments being set so that you have people to follow up with tomorrow. And then the other part is appointment setting and execution. So every single day from 8 o'clock to 8:30, role play and objection handling. I don't know why I'm pointing at that one. Role play and objection handling, 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. Prospecting, 10 to 11, follow-up. And then from 11 o'clock to 6 o'clock, you go do the appointments that were generated for the last 90 days worth of output of the prospecting and the follow-up that have created appointments for you to then go execute. If you catch yourself sending properties during this time, if you catch yourself writing contracts or requests for repairs, know you're being a very fireable employee because you're not doing the thing, and that's where we trick ourselves. But like if I'm writing a contract and being productive, Colton, if it was a $2 million listing appointment, if you would not be doing it because you'd be at that appointment, you need to hold yourself accountable to doing the thing that your time was being delegated to do. And that's where most people fall short. So, I'm gonna skip. Now this. So when you have a CRM, this is by far the most powerful tool that I think you can implement, and it's called your power list. Your power list is your daily non-negotiables. Like for you guys, if I were to ask you, what's your name? Linda. What does winning a day look like for you? If you were to go home, are you married? Okay. Who's married? Okay. If you get home and you can tell your you can tell your wife that you had a very productive day, what does that look like for you? Like, what is a productive day?
Avoid the wasted time.
Well,
I work from the ranch, so I'm already home all day.
oh, well, that works. A lot of us, who here has worked all day long? You know you were working. You know you were busy. You were doing stuff, and you're like, what did I get done today? Like, I have absolutely had that happen. Most of us at the end of the day, we're like, I didn't get any of the things done that I needed to get done. One, because we weren't managing our time. We didn't know what was revenue generating, what was a time waster. We didn't do it, delete it, defer it, or delegate it. Like, if you can just focus your time on just doing those things, we all agree, the things that you know you needed to do, if you had those things itemized on your list and everything else was completely off, do you think you'd be more productive? Do you think you'd feel more productive at the end of the day? The answer is yes. So if you go home, you need to define, what does winning a day look like for you? Because it's different for everybody. For me, it was always Tom Ferry's rule. I heard it early on. I'm going to have 5 new conversations with people. I'm going to have 5 follow-up conversations with people. And I'm going to have 4 conversations with people who know me, like me, and trust me, my sphere of influence. And so long as I stay in relationship and I keep proximity to those people, they're going to send me a referral when that time comes. So I knew that if I got home and I did my 5-5-4, I had a productive day because I added people to my pipeline, I progressed people through my pipeline, and I kept in contact with my sphere of influence so I didn't get pissed off when my cousin Ashley bought a house with somebody else. Because when you go evaluate, you're like, well, have I been keeping proximity to my cousin? No. Does she know I'm in real estate? Am I constantly staying top of mind? If the answer is no, it's not your cousin Ashley's fault, it's yours. So if you're doing the 5-5-4, I just strongly recommend every single agent has to have some type of non-negotiable. And by the way, non-negotiable literally means it's non-negotiable. It is the priority of your day. I do not do this unless this is done. So that 9 to 11 time frame, I promise, is more than sufficient to have 5 new conversations, 5 conversations and follow-ups, because we got to have the new, we got to progress people through, and then most importantly, we're going to keep proximity to the people who know us, like us, trust us, love us, and will refer you business so long as you didn't just come at them when you want a business. So, will you eventually have a day to where you fall off and you can't do the 554? 100%. And the problem is we always beat ourselves up over what we didn't do yesterday. And it's like, okay, you didn't do it yesterday. There's no time, there's no reason to dwell on it. Or then people will get into that trap of, I'm going to plan everything that I'm going to do tomorrow, and I'm going to create this big yearly thing that's going to eventually collect dust and go into the trash can that I'm never going to adhere to anyway. It's like, I don't care what you didn't do yesterday. I don't care what you tell me you're going to do tomorrow. The only thing I care about is what are you going to do today to bridge the gap from the lack of activity that you did yesterday. And it's like, if you're 80% compliant with the plan that you have, I promise you, you are going to be so much more productive than the average agent who has no clue what their non-negotiables are. They have no standards in terms of output. They don't have any of those things, so they constantly end each day wondering, was I productive today or not? Like if you all had 554, do you think you'd end the day feeling like you're productive regardless of what happened? I know I do, but you have to have a standard that you're actually going to hold yourself to. And the problem is you'll go do this, you're like, I'm going to have 10. Do not confuse tenacity with consistency. I would much rather have the slow pace, I'm going to have 3 conversations per day, than choosing the pie in the sky number that you're never going to adhere to. Okay, so everybody agrees. Now we're going to get into the super tactical stuff. But before I even get into any of this, it's like you have to fix your days and know what's going to create revenue before you start trying to actually go build your business. Because the way we spend our days is literally the foundation to our business. Now, we've all agreed the market's changed a little bit, correct? There we go. Let's wake up a little bit. All right, so we all understand that the market has changed a little bit. Now, the low-hanging fruit, we were able to stay fat, fed, and happy just eating the low-hanging fruit that was in the market. I don't know if you just saw the ridiculously low sales that we have today in comparison to where it was a couple years ago. The low-hanging fruit's gone. The problem with abundance is it is very destructive. Because when we are having leads and opportunities in abundance, we can get away with not being great agents. We lose the skill sets that allowed us to be successful. We stop being nurturers because we don't have to climb up in that tree anymore to capture opportunity. We can literally just sit there and stay fed off the low-hanging fruit. And the reality of it is we need to make sure that you learn how to climb and that you never let that muscle or that strength atrophy. Because now all of a sudden agents forgot how to nurture. They forgot what a long-term nurture is. They forgot how long they need to nurture people to get them from the conversation phase to the close phase. Do we all agree that the timeline between the time that I talk to somebody to the time that they transact has dramatically extended? The ability to convert those leads requires you to stay top of mind with those people, to nurture them in an effective way, because you can shorten that time frame so long as you're making the right deposits. So an agent success or failure will always be found in output, skill set, process, and accountability. I'm going to go into a little bit of what each of these are. Output are the things that you do. They're the conversations that you're having. It's the new conversations, it's the follow-up, it's you doing it consistently. And when I say every player on the field, that means you're calling people, you're texting people, you're emailing people. The problem with today, and I've seen it within my own team, and I have to fight like crazy to get people to do it, is everybody relies on digital, everybody relies on automation. We love texting people because you don't get to hear the no, you don't get to hear all the hangups. But the reality of it is what makes communication effective, most of us have heard this, 7% of what derives effective communication comes from the words that you use. 37% comes from your tonality. So when you're the agent that just likes to text and just likes to email and you don't like to call and talk to people, you are losing 37% of what would make those words effective, and you're hoping that it'll work. If we were all in a race and I use 37% of my car's acceleration, if I use at least 37%, will I beat you on a race if you're only using 7? Yes. Because I'm going to be utilizing the thing that's actually going to allow the words that I'm saying to actually be effective. So we already know that 55% is our body language. So if you're talking to people on the phone, you're already losing the thing that's going to make you the most effective. So phone calls are non-negotiable. Like in our office, we focus on 2-minute long conversations. Because if I have somebody having a lot of conversations, but they're 13 seconds long, I know we have a skill set problem. Because I have an agent on the phone who doesn't know how to keep those conversations going longer, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. The other component is cadence, like making sure that we're staying top of mind. I'm buying a house in Lake Havasu right now, and I'm not buying it until October. So I've called a bunch of agents because I'm starting to and it's crazy how bad these agents are because every single one of them that I called is a top agent. And I told him, hey, I'm going to be buying a place in October. I got to sell this place. It's a flip that I'm doing in Long Beach. I said, I got to take that money. I got to wait for it. But I'm doing my due diligence. I don't know anything about Havasu. I don't know where I should buy. I don't know anything about the Airbnb rules. Guess how many of them, one called me back. I called 10, 2 called me back. Of the 2 that called me back, guess how many of them I heard from over the next 30 days? 0. Now, there's an agent, I did a video complaining about this, so my buddy Cody called me, he goes, bro, I'm in Havasu, I'll sell you your place. He has been following up with me every single week, sending me market data, sending me Airbnb stuff, not sending me houses, because he knows I'm not there, and the houses that are gonna be on the market won't be there when I'm ready to buy. But he's sending me information on Airbnbs, he's sending me information on what does well in Airbnbs, he's adding value. So now, guess who I heard from literally this morning? I talked to her 3 months ago, top agent in Havasu, hey, just checking in with you to see how your home search is going. Do you think she's getting my business? No. Cody is, because he's been adding value and not making it about, hey, what's in it for me? She's just like, are you ready yet? Because I'm ready to get my commission. He's been adding value to make this search more valuable for me. So he's the person that inevitably I'm going to use. So we got to make sure that we're doing all the cadence. Now, here's the important part, skill set. Output is what throws you the ball. Skill set is what allows you to capture that ball and progress it down the field. Because if you can catch the ball, but you fumble it every single time, it doesn't matter. We got to make sure that you can progress this ball down the field without fumbling it. Now, where do we fumble it? When somebody says, I'm putting my plans on hold. When somebody says, I'm waiting for the market to crash. When somebody says, I'm waiting for affordability and interest to improve. How much time do I have, by the way?
As much as you want.
All right. I don't want to run out of time. Okay, so 50? Oh, I can talk real slow. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so we're going to talk about the skill set. When somebody hits you with the objection, do you have the ability to handle that objection and progress the ball forward? And the reality of it is, I'm doing this for fun in Havasu. I'm hitting people with, I put my plans on hold. Okay, well, if you need anything, here's my number, and I'll talk to you soon. It's like, that was the worst approach. That's a skill set problem. And she's going to blame the leads, and she's going to blame the market. When the reality of it is, she didn't have the ability to ask me a question that's going to allow that conversation to progress forward because she got blocked and she didn't know how to pivot around it. So that's what we're going to focus a lot on. And I know how much you guys love scripting. I know how much you guys love role-playing. I know it's the most fun thing that you do in your day, but it's the practice that you go through, the repetitions that you do that are going to allow you to do that really, really well when faced with it. That's why it's a non-negotiable in our team every single day. Now, I hate scripts. So here I am talking about how important scripts are, but I'm also telling you at the same exact time that I hate scripts. I know I'm a walking contradiction. I sell real estate and I hate it. But the thing that we want to focus on now, like your script, it's simply a roadmap to getting you where you want to go. So I told you guys one of the rules that you have to abide by is you're going to make sure that every single conversation that you have ends up with an appointment being set. That's your goal. Every conversation I have will turn into an appointment being set. That's your goal. So how do I get somebody from the start of a conversation to an appointment being set? I utilize scripts that are going to allow me to get them to that point, and I learn frameworks. The problem is if you Google, give me the best script for I'm waiting for affordability to improve, you're going to get the same recycled garbage that's been floating around in our industry for the last 30 years, and it's wildly ineffective. It sounds cheesy, and literally the intro that's on that script will get you hung up on today. So the things that I believe in are called pivots, and what I like about pivots is it's a conversation anchor. I'll get there. It's a conversation anchor. You're going to say a thing. I'm skipping ahead. I'll be right back. So we've got the output. We've got the skill set to turn these into appointments being set. So then what happens when you meet with somebody? This is called process. When I meet with somebody, how do I display myself? What's my organized sales process that I adhere to when I show a home? Because it's not, hi, welcome to 1230 Elm Street. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home. It's listed for $1 million. That is not in my standard operating procedure for what we do when we meet a home, because I know that that appointment's going to be concluded with them going, cool, we'll let you know, we'll think about it, talk to you later. They get in the minivan and they drive off. Because agents need to be making sure that that organized sales process, which by the way, it always is, hey, so what's been one of your biggest pain points or frustrations that you've been experiencing in the market? That's built into our process. The reason is because then they get to say, I'm waiting for the market. Well, if they're in front of you, you're not going to get that. But they'll be able to say interest rates and affordability, we haven't found the right home yet. And our agents have exactly what they need to say based on that pain point that's going to get more people to accept the appointment ask. And I'm going to get into that even further here in just a second. So output throws you the ball. Skill set allows you to progress it down the field. Process is what gets you touchdowns. Because you get to all the first dates that you want, but if you can't get past the first date, you're never going to get married. You have to be able to show up in a way that's going to make somebody see the value of progressing a relationship with you. And the process is what you do during those listing appointments, the buyer consultations, the buyer strategy sessions. The thing that you do that's going to make them walk away from that meeting going, hey, that's my realtor. That's the undeniable best choice for this process because they've shown me what that value is. And then the last part is going to be accountability. Accountability is the accountability to doing those things every single day. Making sure that you're doing the output, you're focusing on the skill set, you're improving your processes. You commit to your daily standards. I'm going to have my 5 new conversations. I'm going to have my 5 follow-up conversations. I'm going to have my 4 sphere of influence conversations so that my past clients and the people who know me, like me, and trust me will refer me business when it comes their way. And then the other part is I'm going to track and measure because what I care about is if you have a 0.5%, let's say you have a 1% conversion rate, you don't need more leads. You need to convert more of the leads that you've already got. Because for every 0.2% increase in conversion, you'll see an extra 25% in return. So why do we not focus on, well, what do I got to do to unkink the hose? Because we all agree if you can get more of the leads that you have to speak to you, that you'll probably just organically set more appointments. You think? Yes, you will. It's not rhetorical. I know if I talk to more people, eventually I'm going to set more appointments. When I set more appointments, naturally more people are going to meet with you. When I meet with people, naturally and organically, because we already know, 60% of people use the first realtor the first realtor that they meet. I just know if I can get them to that net phase, naturally I'm going to sign more people, I'm going to submit more offers, I'm going to pin more deals, and I'm going to close. But what if you approach each of these steps with a proven process that is absolutely guaranteed to move more of those METs to signs, to move more of the signs to submitting offers and faster, to utilize a negotiation process that's absolutely going to get more of the offers that you submit accepted. And then right now, are you guys having a difficult time, buyers and sellers? Are they misaligned on what each of them expect, yes or no? Is it yes? Has everybody had their coffee today? Yes or no? All right. So we know this. So we need to be able to bridge that gap. I think the gap right now is at 13%, which means they surveyed 50,000 home buyers and sellers, and they asked them, what do you expect to sell your home for? And then they asked the buyers, what do you expect to pay for the home? There was a 13% gap from what buyers are willing to pay to what sellers are willing to accept. Do we wonder why listings aren't selling? No, because one of the issues, and agents will blame the market, or are you failing as an agent to set expectations, to have difficult conversations that are going to allow you to coach a client to understanding what it takes to submit a realistic offer and the strategies that you're going to use to make the seller and to make the listing agent know that you are undeniably the best offer. All of these, there's best practices that if you focus on them, it's going to get more of the offers that you submit accepted. And then we have a whole process for how you conduct the inspection. Like, if you build a process, again, I told you guys I hate real estate. I want to talk to as few people as possible. When I open an escrow, I don't want it to fall out. I got to get that thing here, because if not, I have to start all the way over with someone else. I don't want that. I don't want time away from my daughter. I don't want time away from my family. I don't want time away from doing the things that I actually love, and that requires me to fall in love with this output, skill set, process, and accountability. Because the things that we were doing 2 years ago, they don't work today. The conversations that we're having today are very different than the ones that we were having 6 months ago. Like, this market, since COVID, we have not had a normalized market in a really long time. So you can learn the new skill set, stop learning, and now that skill set isn't going to be effective anymore. So it literally is just accountability to doing it over and over. So I already talked about this. You don't need more leads. Now we're going to get into the super tactical stuff. If you're an agent who's doing your calls, this is a study. We have an AI system, so all these numbers are absolutely accurate. I move them to even numbers to make it easier. Our call times, which means dial to conversation rate. So our spoke to, our call efficiency, if we called between the hours of 9 to 11, we only had, so if you did 400 calls, which means we only had 10% of the people who we called actually pick up the phone, that means we had 40 conversations. By simply adjusting our process to 5 to 7. Why is 5 to 7 more effective? People are home. It's like people go door knocking on a Tuesday at 11 o'clock and wonder why nobody answers. You could do it on a weekend and get a whole lot more people to answer, but we don't like falling in love with processes that actually work. We want to do what's comfortable for us in the moment because we got that stuff to do on the weekend. And it's like, I know that if I can get more of my knocks to turn into an answer, if I can get more of my dials to turn into a conversation, this agent, out of their same 400 calls, The conversation ratio was 25.67%. The conversation ratio at the earlier time block was 10. This agent had 102 conversations. This agent had 40. Do you guys think that you'll set more appointments if you have 102 conversations in comparison to 40? So we should be making our calls between. But we don't, because I got stuff I want to do and I got to prioritize that. Hey, listen, I want better results out of less effort. I want more time with my daughter. I want to write more intentional pages that don't have me looking back at the last 18 years, regretting all the stupid hours that I worked, because had I followed a better process, I could have been a better father. Like, I actually care about this because I want less time doing the thing that I hate so I can do more of the things that I love, and it's spending time with my daughter. But if we're not willing to do the things and to lean into the difficult parts, you're never going to get better results out of less effort. Okay? Now, I'm only going to focus on the smart agent now. I'm going to ignore this row because I know this agent's going to be far more successful with the same exact output. Now, this is what agents, every single agent has an ask rate. So of the conversations that you have, what percentage of those conversations do you ask for an appointment? What do you think the average agent asks for an appointment on the conversations that they're having, whether it's prospecting or follow-up? Say it louder. 5? You guys are actually, sometimes people are like 40, 50, I'm like, you wish. It literally was like 9%. So the conversations across this entire platform, we utilize Ylopo and Maverick. Across the entire platform, conversations that agents are having, only 9% of them are asking for an appointment. So what if I could take that same exact person that had 103 conversations, I could move their ask rate, by the way, you're not going to get to 100, but I'm keeping the math very simple. If we could get them to ask 100% instead of 10, because at 10%, this is the organic ask rate. This is the organic acceptance, meaning when I ask you to meet with me, will you say yes? When I ask you on the second date, will you say yes? Do we agree that that matters if we're trying to get married? Yeah, I'm going to ask you to progress a relationship with me. I really hope you say yes. I had a buddy named Baby Huey. That's his nickname at the bar. Baby Huey always had a date because he would just, hi, can I buy you a drink? Hi, can I buy you a drink? Hi, can I buy you a drink? And guess what? He bought more drinks and had more dates than anybody because he would just swing at every ball that he could swing at. And everybody would talk crap, but guess who's happily married faster than the rest of us? Like he asks. We are in that business. We have to ask for the thing that we want. And the thing that we want is for people to meet with you, because if you're having conversations but you're never getting people to set an appointment with you, you're just making friends and you're being a little chatty. Our whole focus is make a conversation turn into an appointment. So if we can take that, if this agent, they would set one appointment. So if we can get the same exact agent who is having 103 conversations to ask 100% of the time with the same exact conversations, the acceptance rate does not change based on the frequency that you ask. So that was the most eye-opening statistic that we found. You have a built-in organic acceptance rate. You're going to ask for an appointment naturally as a result of that based on you and your skill set. You have an acceptance rate. So if you can just ask more often without even improving your skill set, you will walk away with 10 appointments being set in comparison to the 1 appointment being set. Do you all agree you will sell more houses if you can meet with 10 people instead of 1? This is doing better with what you already have. You don't need to go have 103 more conversations to get 2. I just need you to focus on asking more often so that more people say yes. Now, this is where rubber really meets the road. Like, of the people that you ask, can you improve the amount of times people will say yes? I got 1 yes. Yes. You guys are smart because little people are like, no. Okay, yes you can. Because if you can make the ask about them, and if you can make the ask tailored to the thing that they actually want, will more people say yes? Now, most people don't know how to ask. So you can literally use Tom Ferry's. I hate it. I've told Tom I hate this. But it's better than the one people don't use. When was the last time somebody sat you down and walked you through what it takes to be a successful home buyer in this marketplace? That's the question. And by the way, it's way better than not asking. Because if you can ask more often and you can utilize that cheesy script, it will work a lot better than the one you're not using. Now, what I really want to do is leverage the ask as the solution to their pain point. It's a solution-based ask. How do we ask somebody what their pain point is? How? Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to see if you're paying attention. Yeah, help me better understand what's one of the biggest pain points or frustrations you're experiencing in the marketplace today? You're going to find out the thing that they're suffering with so that you can then leverage the ask for your appointment as a solution to whatever pain they're feeling. So if it's somebody who says affordability and interest rates, I'm not going to talk about off markets. I'm not going to talk about anything else. I'm going to talk about how we can solve to the interest rate and the affordability problem. How do we do that? 3-to-1 buy downs. The problem is clients don't know what 3-to-1 buy downs are. Agents don't know how to explain them, and I'm going to teach you exactly how you do it here in a second in a really effective way. Because if you can move, and this is a real number, we had them start, this is the same exact agent with the same exact 400 phone calls. So now they're having 103 conversations. Now they were setting 10 appointments. And then we were able to move that same exact agent, we were able to move their acceptance rate to 30%. That same exact agent had 20 more appointments met with the exact same output. Do you guys all think you would sell way more houses if you could ask more often and if you could get more people to accept? Yes. I like whoever that, there's a light, but whoever this is, I like her. All right, so now, what? Oh, Marion. Okay, so we're going to talk about cadence real short, and then I'm going to get super into the exact scripts that you're going to use, the exact tie downs that you're going to use to get more people to accept. But you first, oh, damn it. Sorry, Brent. Don't tell Brent. All right. Now, we're going to talk about the cadence for which you got to follow up with somebody, because if you go treat every single person the exact same, you're not going to convert any leads. The people who are 12 months away, if you call me every single day, I'm going to block you. But I always had a mentor, he taught me this rule, and he said they either buy, die, or they file a restraining order. So until they buy, until they die, or until they file a restraining order, you do not stop following up. However, you do need to adjust the cadence in which you follow up, because the cadence is going to keep you in proximity, but at a pace that's not going to get you blocked or hated. So somebody who's 0 to 30 days out, we got to make sure, and by the way, this is literally bare minimum, and this only means actual phone call. This is not automated drips. Yeah, please.
What was the question to ask for the appointment?
Hey, I've been talking, so you just organically weave it in. And we just tell people, it's like, hey, I've been talking to a lot of people, and the market sentiment's pretty much the same across the board. People are frustrated. So I'm curious, what's one of the biggest pain points or frustrations that you've been experiencing in today's market? And then you pause, you're going to say the thing, you're going to shut up, sorry, but you're going to stop talking, because we as agents, especially when we try a thing for the first time, if they don't immediately answer, we're like, and then we just skip right past the next one. It's like, hey, you got to slow down. You got to allow them to answer. I live and breathe in the discomfort of silence. I'm introverted. It's my peace. It's my calmness. It's my happiness. So when they're not talking, I'm like, but I know they're going to answer. But if I start interrupting first, I don't get the answer to the question that I asked. Therefore, it's not going to have the effect. So my entire point is, help me better understand what's one of your biggest pain points or frustrations that you've been experiencing in the marketplace today. Shut up, wait for them to answer, and I'm going to give you the thing that you're going to say regardless of what they say, because there's not a lot of things that they're going to say. Interest rates and affordability, haven't found the right place yet, freaking out that the market's going to crash, or like there's only so many things that you got to have an answer to. But we need to make sure that we are identifying, one, what's their time frame. Now you can, I keep pointing it at this TV. I'm an ape. You guys can't see it. All right, so you're going to identify a time frame. And you can do it like the words that you use will either increase resistance to the words that you are saying, or it will decrease the resistance to the words that you are saying. So you want to use language that's going to remove the friction from the thing that you're asking. When you say it in a way that makes it sound like you're asking for you, they're going to put up sales resistance, and they're going to put up a little bit bigger of a wall. So you could be like, hey, so when are you looking to buy? Makes it more about you. Or hey, if I could wave a magic wand, ideally, when do you see yourself moving into your next home? Which one sounds better? It's like, hey, I want to make sure that I'm moving at your pace. Ideally, when do you see yourself moving into your next home? Not house, home. When you talk to sellers, not home, house. We're trying to detach somebody emotionally, and we're trying to attach somebody emotionally. Sellers, when they're very attached, and I get it, these are tiny little micro adjustments, but again, all of the tiny little micro adjustments that you make in your standard operating procedure from lead to appointment set to appointment met, it will create a disproportionate return in comparison to the people who ignore the tiny adjustments. Do you know by just doing appointment set, how many of you send a calendar invite every single time? Okay, thank you. Just by adding a calendar invite, Google Calendar invite, you will get an extra 12% of people to show up. Just by doing a calendar invite. Why? People are busy. My haircut guy, He never sent me a calendar invite. I blew off every single appointment. I was like, bro, just send me a calendar invite. I am busy. I'm going to forget, and somebody else is going to put an appointment in that slot. And I got news for you. My haircut's not more important than paying for my daughter's college or getting whatever I want. Like, I'm going to prioritize that, so I'm going to blow you off. So the calendar invite will get just an extra 12% of people to show up. The tiny steps create a disproportionate return. And the problem is skipping the steps is super easy because people lean into the comfort of the moment. Your job is to make sure that it's on their calendar to increase the likelihood that they actually show up. Now, when you talk to them and you ask them, it's like, hey, ideally, when do you see yourself moving into your next home? So that I'm moving at your pace. When do you see yourself moving into your next home? And by the way, the conversations that you have, I've got way too many to go on through here. But it's like, how often do you ask somebody? It's like, hey, by the way, one of the agents did call me because they heard me ranting about it on social media. Like, hey, because you're you, I just didn't want to bug you. Like, you're a realtor, I know you, I just didn't want to bug you. You want to know where you failed? You never asked what my expectations were. You know how often you guys fail to ask people, like, hey, just so I can make this process a 10 out of 10 for you, help me better understand what's everything you expect of me as your agent? When was the last time you asked somebody what you expect of them, what they expect of you? Your job, unspoken expectations are really difficult to meet. Do we agree? So you got to ask really great questions on that first date that's going to make them say, hey, this person actually cares. Like, they're really asking things about me and making this about me, and how can they, like, that's your job. So we're going to ask people, it's like, hey, what is everything, so I can make this process a 10 out of 10 for you. What do you expect of me as your agent? Like, tell me everything that me as an agent would have to do to make sure that I can make this a 10 out of 10. And then they're going to tell you. And then you're going to be able to go do those things. Because if I say, don't call me, just text me, cool, I'm going to text this person, I'm not going to call them. I'm going to ask what they expect of me, and I'm going to make sure I deliver on it. But you've identified the time frame, and now if I'm like, hey, I'm just waiting for the right house, and you call me in 90 days like these morons, they're not going to get the deal, they're not going to get the conversion, they're going to end up telling their spouse that it's the market, honey, I don't know what to do. It's not my lack of skill set and the ability to be a great agent. So instead, follow-up A's, you're going to make sure that you have a phone call at least 2 times per week at bare minimum. By the way, CRMs have smart lists, and they have task management things, and they have automations that will ensure you do it as long as you go follow the system. But it will ensure that you're keeping top of mind and you're keeping proximity. Somebody who's 60 days out, I'm going to follow up with them 1 time per week. Somebody who's 90 days out, they'll get a call. We got 2 times per week, 1 time per week, 2 times per month, and pending escrows, minimum 2 times per week. Closed clients, minimum of once per quarter. And as long as you're keeping proximity with people, you're going to stay top of mind. You're going to be the agent that they think of whenever the time comes. And by the way, that's a script that I've always used with clients, and it works great. Like, honestly, dude, I'm really far out. I'm just kind of exploring things right now. Hey, that's more than okay. My job's not to get you to buy now. My job's simply to earn the privilege of being the person you think of whenever that time comes. So tell me everything that I would need to do for you in order to accomplish that. I'm going to ask what they expect of me. And if you do this and you go do the thing that all the people in your pipeline have done, do we agree that we're going to set more appointments, that we're going to meet with more people? Yeah. But we just ask the same stupid question. How many bedrooms do you want? What's your price point? Where do you want to live? And then they inquire on a house in Irvine. You're like, do you want to live in Irvine? And they say yes. As opposed to, hey, other than Irvine, what are the other top 3 cities you would consider? Because my job is to expand criteria, because if I ask a yes or a no question, and I say, hey, are you just looking at homes in Irvine? It's when you inquired on. Like, yeah. Cool. So I just send them homes in Irvine, but you're smart. Instead of just saying, hey, I see you inquired on a home in Irvine. Is that where you're looking? She's not dumb. Instead, she said, hey, other than Irvine, what are the other top 3 cities you would consider? And in her search, she set up Tustin, Irvine, Lake Forest. She's sending more opportunities, dropping more hooks in the water. Who's going to get more bites, her or me? The person with just Irvine in the search, or the person with 4 cities in the search? The things that you do, the questions that you ask, it will absolutely deliver a dramatically different outcome. And the cadence that you deliver that is everything. Okay, any questions on that before I move on? Good. All right, sweet. So now we're gonna talk about how can you go have conversations with the leads you already got. Like, you guys have leads, you don't gotta go spend another dollar, you don't gotta do an open house. By the way, if you don't have a pipeline or a CRM, you're gonna have to go back and do all the output because you weren't following a good system, but now you're gonna capture all those leads. My mentor always told me I was a lawnmower without a bag. And he's like, you need to capture every opportunity that your effort creates, because your ability to do that is going to allow you to create better results out of it. So stop being the lawnmower without the bag, capture every single opportunity. And then most importantly, have you guys ever had a lead who said, I'm not ready today, and then they call you like 2 years later, like, hey, sorry you haven't heard from me, but I'm ready now. Great agents have had that happen because you kept calling. And when they didn't answer, When they didn't answer, you didn't get upset because you know them not responding is not rejection. It's just they're not ready yet. They're not your friend. They don't know you. They don't like you. They don't trust you. So they don't have to talk to the realtor who's trying to sell them a home. You can't take that as rejection. They're simply not ready yet. Your job, just keep making those deposits. Who here is a geographic farmer? Do you stop mailing to the house that didn't respond on the first month of sending them a mailer? Why? Because you didn't take it as rejection. You're not going to stop making the deposit because you know that deposit's being received, whether they're acknowledging it or not. But why is it with leads and phone calls, we stop mailing that mailer? We stop doing the thing that's going to keep us top of mind. Because we don't like rejection and we take somebody's non-response as rejection and we can't do that. So this is a very simple script. And you, literally, I promise you if you do this, you will have a huge impact on your business. I did this at Wailopo. I had a guy who told me literally, I should put the screenshot up here. He says he has 4 closings that resulted from this one effort. So he went into his pipeline and he called every single lead that he hadn't spoken to in 30 days. Where people who screw up is, you will read the notes and be like, I'm not interested, and you'll skip that call. This one says, we're not looking anymore, so you skip that call. This one said, don't choose who you're going to call. You're going to call every single lead. I'm working with an agent. Ignore that. Because when they say I'm working with another agent, does that actually mean they're working with another agent? No. I won't say it because I'm on Brent Gove days. These leads ain't loyal. Like we know that when they say, I'm already working with another agent, if new hotness walks in and a better agent with a better opportunity, with more off-market inventory, with a better skill set, if that agent shows up into their life, you're going to find how not loyal those people are, and they'll immediately go to the person who's going to provide them more happiness, who's going to give them the value that they want. So you're going to ignore all the objections that people are giving to you, and you're simply going to say, hey, it's Colton. By the way, this is a little skill set. It's a soft skill. You don't go, hi, this is Colton Whitney with eXp Realty. How you doing today? They're going to hang up. Nobody you know or anybody that you talk to calls you and says that. So how do you call your friend? Hey, it's Colton. Like, try to remove the, hi, this is Colton Whitney with eXp Realty. How are you today? You don't care. And by the way, I know, because they're nice people, I know you actually do care. They don't care. They don't want to answer that question. So if you want to get more people to 2-minute conversations, you're going to stop doing the thing that gets people to hang up on you within the first 5 seconds. Do we agree? Do you guys do this to solicitors? I do. The minute I go, you hear the, hi, this is so-and-so, da-da-da, how are you doing today? I hang up because I don't have time. So stop talking to people in that way because you know they're there to solicit. So all you're going to say is, hey, Colton, hey, I was trying to update my notes. Did you ever end up finding the home you were looking for, or are you still looking? And then you pause. You don't say anything. Hey, it's Colton. I just was trying to update my notes. Sound a little confused. Did you ever end up finding the home you were looking for, or are you still looking? And then inevitably, what they're going to say is, no, I already bought a home, I'm already working with another agent, or no, we can't afford anything, or screw off, don't call me again. Like, you're only going to get so many responses. But if they don't answer that one time, you're not going to stop calling them. You're going to say, hey, this is Colton, da-da-da-da-da, are you still looking? You're going to pause. And then if they don't, by the way, oh yeah, I forget I have slides. Ding. Oh, actually I added a new one last night. So I'm going to give you this. So here's the point. You could, what? I really like Marion. Marion, you are awesome. It gives me a second. So take a picture of it. You're going to let them answer. And then guess what? Not every single person is going to answer. Do we agree? How many of you use a dialer because you're really efficient? Stop using dialers. Efficient isn't effective. And this is what sucks in the world that we're living in today. A dialer will call somebody one time, they don't answer. You call them one time, they don't answer. You call them one time, they don't answer. You call them one time, they don't answer. So you spent an entire hour calling people that don't answer the phone. Guess what? You did nothing to move your business forward. Instead, you do what happened to me on stage one time. I had my best friend since kindergarten call me once. I saw it. And I kept going. And then I saw he called me again. And I looked at it, and immediately I was like, uh-oh, what's wrong? And then he called me a third time, and I got chills in my body. I was like, we've been having a lot of death in our family. So I like immediately, as a guys, hold on. And I picked up the phone, and I was like, hey, dude, is everything okay? And he goes, what up? However, he used a method that was effective. The first call, I'm going to ignore it because it's probably a spam. The second call piques curiosity. The third call, something's wrong. So you get people to pick up. I want people to have a conversation with me. So you utilize effective methods, not efficient methods. We are in a world where one time doesn't work. And then agents are like, well, what if they say, what if they're mean to me? They won't be. Every once in a while they will be. You call the big buff dude and he'll take care of it for you. He'll go beat him up. Send him his way. Who cares? That's not your person. When you don't get the result that you wanted, you don't get upset. You just move on to the next because you have realistic expectations. You know not everybody's going to like me. You know not everybody's going to talk to me. Now, this is a really good starter script. The one that I love is this one because this is actually going to allow you to have way longer conversations that are going to keep people on the phone longer. And it's very flexible so you can choose how you want to use it. So you go, hey, it's Colton. Hey, I was giving you a call back because the last time we had spoke, and by the way, this is if you know that where they inquired. So if you knew, and you could say this, you could be like, hey, I wanted to give you a call back because the last time we spoke, you mentioned that you were looking for a home in Irvine. Why is that good? Like if you know they inquired on a home in Irvine, or if you know they came to your open house and it was in Tustin, it's like, hey, the last time we spoke, you were looking for a home in Tustin. Instead of, hey, the last time we spoke, we know you were looking for a home. Super specific. We've talked before. And then if you're on a team and you call into a pond, I have agents who are like, well, it wasn't me. I'm like, dude, they've talked to so many people, they're not going to remember. So, hey, last time we spoke, you were looking for a home in Irvine. Did you ever end up finding the right home, or are you still looking? And then you pause. You let them answer. Regardless of what they say, it can be, and by the way, you're going to have to be a little fluid here. If they're like, we moved to Dubai, this isn't going to work. It's okay. You're not going to find a script that works for everything. But if like, hey, I'm putting my plans on hold, or no, we're not looking anymore, or I'm waiting for the market to crash, or whatever it is they say, that's exactly why I was calling you today, actually. And then you're going to choose which one of these options works the best for what they said. Hey, the market shifted in your favor. There's less competition, and sellers are finally negotiating. Or you can say, hey, that's exactly why I called. We're using sellers' money to actually buy down the interest rates to get buyers' interest rates into the 4s and 5s. Or you're going to choose a few new listings came available that might be worth taking a look at. Or if it's somebody, like if they didn't find the right house, or you could change that and be like, hey, we've got a couple off markets that you might be interested in. Or you can say some home like yours just sold in the area and the numbers were really strong. Or like you guys, he put that twice. Now, you're going to pick one and you're going to say, I figured it'd be helpful if I did a quick check-in. Nothing formal, just 15 minutes of your time to map things out to see if you're still interested. Do mornings or evenings work better for you? It's a tie down. You ask, this script guarantees that you ask every single time. So we did a competition in my team, and I said the first person to 22-minute phone calls, I'm going to pay you $1,000. So the entire team was like, we're going to make our calls today. I was like, awesome. You incentivize them to do their job and they'll do it. And if we gave them a script that allows the conversation to progress, that one's just going to get you to the first objection. It's like, hey, did you ever find the place you used to look? And like, no, we put our plans on hold. And like, okay, bye. Not a 2-minute conversation. But if I gave them a script that would hold out for that full 2-minute conversation, now they're having 2-minute conversations that are being wildly more effective. And now we're getting them to ask more often. We did it on a Monday. I compared it to our last Monday, our team every single Monday from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock prospects. Guess what percentage of an increase in conversations we had for 2 minutes? 1,136% increase in 2-minute conversations. Guess what percentage of increase we had in appointments being set? 280% increase in appointments being set. By the way, we make a lot of calls. This isn't one Monday we didn't call anybody, and this Monday we called 2, and now we have this huge increase. No, we call a shit ton of people. Brent, he's not here. I get nervous. All right, but when we did it, why? Because we're following processes that work. We're keeping people on the phone. We're assuming that they want to meet with you. You assume the close every single time, and when you do it, you're going to naturally turn more of your conversations into appointments being set. You're going to meet with more people without really changing anything other than I'm going to follow a simple and effective script. Now, here's where people usually fall off. What if they're like, no, dude, I'm not looking, or I put my plans on hold, or I'm terrified of the market, tariffs, war, all the crap that has people fearful. If they resist, here's what you say. Hey, I totally get it. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask. What exactly would need to be happen in order for you to feel comfortable moving forward again? What's the thing that would have to happen in order for them to be a buyer again? And by the way, sometimes it's affordability improves. Sometimes it's I got to wait for my raise. Sometimes it's I'm fixing my credit. But you got to find out what that is so that your follow-ups are actually going to be able to apply a solution to the thing that they're fearful of. Because you can absolutely expedite. This is when I get comfortable, I become more extroverted. I'm like a diesel engine. It just takes me time to warm up. So you just have to make sure that you're asking questions so that you can provide them more value that's going to allow you to do better with them. Now, What are they going to say? By the way, I already said this. When you first call and you call them 3 times and they don't answer, not everybody's an answer. That does not mean they're a bad lead. That does not mean that you stop mailing that direct mail that didn't get a response to. You're going to apply. I have a 108-day action plan that, by the way, just even going back without this, I have a 108-day action plan. But when you call, you're going to text them the same exact thing. Hey, this is Colton. Hey, I was trying to update my notes. Did you ever end up finding the home you were looking for, or are you still looking? Same exact script. You're going to send it to them via text, and hopefully you have a CRM that's automatically going to do this because it will help avoid the thing not being done. But 7 minutes later, you say, let me know with a thumbs up emoji. That thumbs up emoji, what type of increase in response rate do you think we get from the thumbs up versus the A/B testing that we did that didn't use the thumbs up? What do you say? 37%. We saw 37% response from the effort by just adding let me know with a thumbs up emoji. Does an extra 37% in response do good for us? For sure. Were some of those screw off? Yeah. Were some of those stop? 100%. But we're a healthy percentage. I just want to pick up 4 or 5 of these and move them into MET. That's all I want to do. Because if I can move a couple of these into MET, I'm eventually going to move some to signed. A couple of those will go to submitted. One of those will go to pended, and then one of those will go to close. Like it makes a meaningful impact. So just make sure if they don't respond, I have a 108-day plan that literally, hey, and by the way, it's a whole bunch of different bait. By the way, the one that works the best, and if you're not going to use this, hey, I don't want my follow-up to become a nuisance. I simply also don't want to drop the ball in case you're still interested. Did you ever end up finding the home you're looking for, or are you still looking? It's a feel-bad approach. I'm bringing like a human element. It's like, hey, I don't want my follow-up to become a nuisance, but I also don't want to drop the ball in case you're still interested. Did you ever end up finding the right home, or are you still looking? That one, by far, is my ISA department's #1 response, the feel-bad approach. So I have a 108-day plan. You guys just go ahead and scan this real quick. I'll just, what was the rule? I don't know, scan it, DM me, and I think they're going to automatically send it to you. Sorry, I forgot. And by the way, if you guys post anything, my daughter finally is starting to have interest in real estate. She hated it, but she thinks this stuff's kind of cool. So if you do post anything, like she follows me on Instagram, please tag me so she can be like, I'm trying to get her into the family business. But she's like, yeah, this is cool. I thought you just opened houses all day. So anyway, all right. So I'll send you guys that. Now, here's what you got to know about objections. How much time?
15 minutes.
Huh? I blocked out. What I say? Oh, the text message plan, the 108 days. So I'm going to send you a 108-day text message template that's just super effective to get the people who are ghosting you because they're actually priced out of the market, because they're actually not looking to buy right now, because I just got to make sure I'm dropping those. A girl who I hired on my team, she worked for Tom Ferry. She called me and said, hey, would you be interested in coming back to Tom Ferry? She called me at the wrong time. I said, no. I said, I'm not interested at all. She saw me 1 week later on the new onboardees. And she's like, dude, I talked to Colton. He told me that he wasn't looking. She called me and I was walking into an appointment. I wanted to get her off the phone. So you cannot take you can't take objection as absolute truth. They don't know you, they don't like you, they don't trust you, and unless they do, they're going to give you answers just to get you off the phone. You got to be resilient and not worry about it. So you got to make sure, I want to make sure I don't skip anything important. You're going to make sure that you find it, and whatever the objection is, you're just going to have a really great pivot. And the key to a good script is, does it allow me to say a thing to address their concern? And then does it allow them to speak so I can uncover more information about them? Because we also tracked, what do you think the average agent's talk time is on a conversation?
Too much.
Marion's right, but quantify it. Percentage of the call that the agent's talking. 75, depending on the agent in the market, 75 to 80%. It's crazy. You guys got to shut up. You guys have to let people talk, because if it's you talking the entire time, you're not going to find out anything that's valuable to them. You're not going to find out anything that's important, and then you're not going to be able to use that information to follow up with them with more accuracy. So you're going to say the thing, you're going to shut up, you're going to learn to live in the silence because they will give a response. You're going to listen to them because you're going to have to be fluid, and you're going to have to be able to have more conversation in between. You're going to have the conversation flow naturally, because when you do, it's going to make them feel heard. It's going to make them feel understood. It's going to make them feel like you actually care about them and the results that you get. That builds connection. Connection builds rapport. Rapport builds trust. So you got to let people talk to allow that thing that organically happens when we talk to people to happen. But if you're talking the whole time, it'll never happen. So we put our plans on hold. Help me better understand what has you putting your plans on hold. Shut up. Let them talk. Let them tell you whatever that thing is. Got it. Now we're going to pivot them away from the thing that they're fearful of. I'm fearful of the market. I'm waiting for the market to crash. Whatever it may be, it's okay. Let them say whatever it is. I'm going to pivot them away from the thing that they're fearful of. Because if they say I'm waiting for the market to crash and you dive into how scary the market is that going to get more people to want to talk about it? No. I remember my daughter when I wanted her to go down the slide at Wet n Wild. It was a big scary slide and she was terrified. If I was like, I know you're going to go so fast. That wasn't going to get her to go down. So I'm going to pivot away from the thing that she's fearful of. And honey, we got to get down somehow. We're going to pivot back towards the thing that she wants, this to be over with. So you're going to say, hey, well, got it. What had you looking at homes in the first place? The thing that they were excited for. What had you looking at homes in the first place? Well, I was looking for this, this, and this. It's like, got it. So here's what you got to do, because if you don't know what they're looking for, you're going to ask them. It's like, what's the most important thing that you would be looking for? What's the most important thing that you'd be looking in for a home when you do get back into the market? Because I want to uncover everything that they were looking for so I can follow up with the stuff that they actually want. And then if they're going to give you the information, it's like, cool, well, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask. If the perfect opportunity came up, it had X, Y, and Z of whatever they just said, would you want me to send you that opportunity, or would you want to miss out on it? And I'm just going to find out. We're peeling the onion back of the ejection, and we're going to try to find out. They say, well, yeah, you can go ahead and send it to me. Well, that's somebody worthy of my time. Do we agree? If they say no, 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 no to every single one of these objections, am I going to care? No. Am I going to take it personal? No. I'm looking for the gold. I'm not going to be mad when I dig through some dirt when I find it. Okay? Like, we spend all of our time trying to turn our dirt into gold, and in the process, the gold will turn into shit. Don't tell Brent. If you're going to go mining for gold, you have to be willing to dig through the dirt. And there's going to be a lot of dirt, especially in the market that we're in, because your guys' sales was all the way down here. So you're going to have to do a whole lot of digging in order to find that gold. And all I'm trying to find out is this person have some potential future interest? Because if so, I'm personally going to pay more attention to them. I'm going to wait until. How many of you guys have had somebody say, I'm going to wait until summer, and then you call them in spring and they already bought? Are buyers or liars? BS. You didn't tell Brent I said BS. BS. You didn't ask good questions. You didn't ask in a way that was actually going to give them the answer. So when you say, hey, when you say you're wanting to wait until summer, is that when you want to be moved into your home, or is that when you want to start the process? Because whatever time frame they tell you they want to be in, I'm going to move that time frame up 6 months to make sure I'm keeping proximity with them, because I know if the right opportunity comes up at the right time, most likely they're going to be interested. So I've got a whole script around this. I'm going to skip forward to the ones. I'll give you that one. I'm going to give you, how many of you have been beat by this one? Like, I'm already working with an agent, and you hang up. We all have. Like, every single one of us, probably at some point, somebody said, I'm already working with an agent. So all you got to say is like, hey, completely respect that. I'm not trying to step on any toes. How's that process been going through for you so far? You'd be amazed at how many of the responses are like, eh. It's like, they're okay. And by the way, sometimes like, it's going great. It doesn't matter. We're just trying to find out. Because one, when they say, I get really excited, and I know this is somebody who I just got to go outperform. So the thing that we're going to look for is, hey, out of curiosity, what's the one thing that you're looking for that you haven't found yet? So if they say they're working with an agent, regardless of what they say, it's like, hey, out of curiosity, what's the one thing that you're looking for that you haven't found with your agent yet? And they're going to hopefully give you that thing. And all you got to say is like, hey, if I were able to bring you an opportunity that your agent didn't have access to, would there be an opportunity for us to work together? What do you think the answer is? All the time. It's like, hey, and then you can tell them, it's like, hey, all agents aren't created equally. Your agent probably has things that I don't have access to, and vice versa. If I could get you connected to a network of off markets, would that be something that would be helpful for you in your home search? What do you think they say? And then the next thing you say is awesome. So the next step is we can do it virtually or in person, whatever works best for you, but to find out exactly what it is you're looking for to see if one of these off markets could be a fit. You're making sure that you ask every single time. The pain point is, I haven't found that thing yet. The solution is, I can't give you access to things that without your agent, you're not going to have access to. I'm going to give a solution for it. It'll increase the acceptance rate. Interest rates and affordability. This is a 3-2-1 buy down. This, please absolutely use it. It's like, hey, I get it. You're completely not alone. Affordability has been everybody's pain point. We hang up when somebody says, I'm waiting for interest rates to come down. The amount of people who hang up after that without knowing what they need the interest rate to be a buyer again is huge. So instead, when they say, I'm waiting for interest rates to come down, to what? What do you need interest rates then? Or yeah, like, what monthly payment are you looking for? To what? At what point am I going to make sure I go pay more attention to you? Because when rates do come down, you're going to be a buyer again, and I'm going to want the business just as much then as I do now. Yeah? So you just ask the question, waiting for them to come down to what? It's like, hey, what would rates need to be at in order for you to feel comfortable moving forward? And then you could be the agent who talks about 3-2-1 buy downs. They're going to gloss over and just try to hang up the phone. Or they're like, well, the good news is the market slowing down has forced sellers to get a lot more creative in how they're selling their homes. Sellers, there's a new program where sellers are actually contributing towards your monthly payment to solve to the affordability challenge. I don't know if it's for you, but I'd love to find out if it could be a solution. I'd love to get you connected to my lender. Do weekends or weekdays work better for you? Does virtually or in person work better for you? It's like, I don't know if it's a fit, but I'd love to find out. Would virtually or in person work better for us to set up that meeting? You use a tie-down approach. You guys, you can get a lot of people, and all that is a 3-2-1 buy down. We're using the seller's money to buy down interest to get their payment to that effective range. And it just works. It's a really simplified way of talking about a 3-2-1 buy down. Haven't and can't found the right place so far? Gotcha. So far, where have you been primarily looking for homes that you haven't found the right place? Like, where are you looking for homes at? What do people always say? Online. Like, if they say we haven't or can't find a place, hey, when you're looking for homes, where are you looking? Zillow, Redfin, whatever it is they say online. It's like, got it, understood. So the nicest homes and the best deals, they sell well before they ever hit the market. By the way, you believing the crap that you're saying is going to affect the tonality of it. Have you ever had an investor call you and say, hey, send me everything that's on the MLS? No, they don't want what's on the MLS because they know the best deals happen off the MLS. So is what you're saying true? Yes. So you got to bring that awareness to the client that you're talking to and say, hey, the best deals and the nicest homes, they often sell well before they ever hit the market. If I could get you connected to a network of off markets, would that be helpful for you in your home search? They say, yes, awesome, I can meet you virtually or I can meet in person. Again, you're just identifying the pain point, you're taking the objection that they give you, you're pivoting around it, and you're asking for an appointment, because if you do that, more of your conversations are gonna turn into appointments being set, more of your sets are gonna turn into met. Agreed? Cool. Tie down frameworks, if you ask people, would that work for you? Would you be interested in? It's like you're gonna get a lot of yeses and nos. So we have a rule, do not ask yes or no. We have an AI system. Of the questions being asked, what % of the questions are yes or no? 93% of the time, when we first started getting transparency into this, agents are just asking yes or no questions. When you ask a yes or no question, people are just gonna say yes or no. If you ask open-ended questions, people are gonna disclose more information that allows you to be a better agent. Agreed? All right, so we use the tie down. So it's like, hey, I can meet you on weekends or weekdays or weekends. What day works better for you? Or I can meet you mornings or afternoons. What works better for you? I can meet you virtually or I can meet you in person. What works better for you? I'm giving you this option or this option. Which one do you want? It's going to get you more appointments being set than asking, would you be interested in? And it's, again, I'm going to use it 10 times, and it might only work 3. But again, my whole job is get those 3 and get them here, because naturally the next step's going to be I'm going to get more people here. That's our whole goal. Focus on the tiny little steps. Some scripts that you need to internalize. Help me better understand your current living situation. Sellers often go look at homes before they ever sell. So you ask, hey, help me better understand your current living situation. Well, I live in X, Y, and Z. Fantastic. Do you rent that or do you own it? I own it. And then agents will like, well, would you need to sell before you can buy? That's an in it for you question. Or instead, would you be turning that into an investment or would you have to sell that in order to relocate? Now you're giving the option to keep it, because if they say that they're going to keep it, I'll let them know that I'm going to rent it to you for free. That's a service that we provide. Okay, got it. So just so you know, a service that I'm going to give them something of value. So we got to make sure we're capturing more of those buyer opportunities who are actually seller opportunities, because if you don't identify that, they're going to go call the agent who's been geographic farming them, and you're going to miss both the buy and the sell if you don't ask that question. It's lock in the appointment. They're like, let me talk to my wife. So it's a lot easier to get me off of your calendar than it is to get you on. Let's tentatively go ahead and set it up for 3 o'clock, and if for whatever reason, if that doesn't work for your wife, we can always reschedule. My job is, bam, bam, book a meeting from a meeting. I'm going to put it onto their calendar, because I know if I do that, I'm going to get more people to say yes. Okay? Somebody who says, I need more time to think about it. What do you say? I completely understand. I don't want you to make a decision that you're not 100% confident in. What day would work best for us to reconnect? Give them the thing that they asked for. What time would work best for us to reconnect? Wednesday. You know what? I want you to have all the time that you need. Why don't we go ahead and meet on Thursday? I'll go ahead and give you a call on Thursday. I'm going to give them more time. I'm going to completely remove the pressure of being a pushy salesperson. Hey, but just so so I'll give you Thursday. I'll give you a call Thursday at 12. How's that work for you? They'll say, okay, cool. It's like, awesome. And just so I can ensure that I show up prepared, specifically, what is it that you needed to think about? And then I'm going to open something up to have the ability to continue diving in and ask for an appointment again. Because most of the time when people do want time to think, there's something unresolved. You got to find out what that thing is because you might have the opportunity to solve it there and ask for the appointment again. All right. Financing, we talked about that. We're almost done. Lead conversion best practices. Speed to lead, you all know. Speed to response, speed to value. Speed to lead, self-explanatory. You should be calling a lead instantaneously from the time that you receive it. Speed to response is once you meet with them like, hey, I'm going to go see these houses tomorrow at 2. Get back to me. You call them back 3 hours. That's a terrible speed to response. The agents who are the best and our highest lead converters, even if you're in an appointment, you call me. Hey, I'm in an appointment. I'm going to give you a call as soon as I'm out. Does that work for you? I always do, is that for you? Question mark, because I want them to respond to remind me. And it's like, hey, if I get a call right now, I have an auto text, hey, I'm in a meeting. Can I give you a call as soon as I'm out? That speed to response is what people appreciate. It's that lack of response that makes them go call somebody else. Speed to value. How quickly on that first date are you displaying the thing that makes you valuable? Like how quickly, the speed to value has to be it. So speed to lead, speed to value, speed to response. War dialing, I already talked on that. You don't call 1 time, you call 3. The thing that really sucks is when you call people, like, hey, here's a list of properties, take a look, let me know if there's anything you'd like to see. That works. Or, hey, take a look at 123 Elm Street. Here's 3 properties that I think you're gonna love. Take a look at 123 Elm Street. It has the pool, it has this, it has that, it has this that you said you were looking for. I already spoke to the seller. They can show it to us anytime this weekend, Saturday or Sunday, between 1 and 4. What time works best for you? When you just use it, like these tiny little adjustments all the way through are gonna get more people to accept. Weekly outreach on a Thursday or a Friday. Hey, I just had a couple spots on my calendar open up this weekend. Are there any properties that you would be interested in? Or, I just broke my rule. What properties would you be interested in me scheduling an appointment for us this week? Every Thursday and Friday, send it to all the active buyers in your pipeline, make yourself available, put yourself in front of them because all you're doing is keeping proximity. Lenders, good lenders do this Thursdays and Fridays. Hey, just so you know, we're working this weekend. If you need a pre-approval, I'm here for you. So that when that thing happens, the first person that's gonna pop into your mind is the person who sent you the text yesterday that said, hey, I'm ready for this thing. So you guys gotta be putting yourself into it. The priority top 10. What I love about a top 10 list is it does not lie. Your top 10 list should live and breathe outside of your CRM. I know that sounds crazy because I'm like, you gotta live and breathe out of your CRM. I want your top 10 list on a thing like this, and it's gonna have 1 through 10, and it's gonna have the lead's name, it's gonna have their price point, and it's gonna have the commission that you're gonna earn.
Buyers and sellers.
What's that? Buyers and sellers. It's gonna have their name, it's gonna have the commission that you're going to earn, and that's all I care about. Why? To be on a top 10 list, here's the criteria. They gotta be looking literally, they're just waiting for the right property. In order to be on your top 10 list, they have to be fully approved and you have to have the proof of funds. Because I know a lot of agents that are out there showing properties with people who have yet to see their proof of funds. They don't know their ability to purchase. Like you need to make sure that this is what we're doing. So you're gonna make sure that you have the name, you're gonna make sure that they're pre-approved, you're gonna make sure that you have a buyer brokerage agreement signed, and if you don't, they don't belong on your top 10 list. And the best thing about a top 10 list is it's not gonna lie to you. So if you only have 2 people that you have fully pre-approved, that they've signed and committed to you as their agent, you know, I gotta go reach in because I wanna fill up that list as quickly as I can. So who have I met with that I haven't signed yet, that I haven't gotten pre-approved so that I can get them on here? Because if you constantly have a top 10 list, you're never gonna be broke. If you constantly have a top 10 list, when those 3 buyers inevitably fall off, you don't panic because you got another 7. But if you're the agent who constantly is only working with 1 or 2, 50% of your income over the next 90 to 120 days just disappeared, and that's why we panic. So live and breathe out of that top 10 list. Mindset and expectations, I already touched on this a little bit. Understand this one thing, 50% of the first conversations that we have happen after 7 failed contact attempts. The vast majority of agents give up after 1. How many days on average does it take a client to commit to you as an agent? 9 days. So on average, from the time that you meet with somebody, it takes them about 9 days. So you should install a structure that's gonna keep you top of mind, that's gonna provide the most value, that's gonna show you the most responsive, that's gonna show you the most proactive within those first 10 days to ensure you're capturing more of the people's commitment. All right, and that's it. This is a course that we have just launched. Guys, sorry to sell stuff. You don't gotta buy it. It's a 60-day money-back guarantee. We walk through literally everything from all of these scripts to how you conduct the buyer consultations. We talk about how you conduct an offer strategy to make sure that your clients are submitting realistic offers. We show you from step 1 all the way to here, and then most importantly, this one, when you close, the best agents understand that the deal doesn't start the day that it closes. Your job literally starts the day that the deal closes. because how you conduct that escrow. My dad always taught me in construction that you're only as good as your last day on the job. I remember I backed out off a job site. I was 16 years old, and I crashed into the fire hydrant, and it flooded the entire job. It delayed their opening to this 7-Eleven that they were building. It delayed it by 2.5 months. My dad did a perfect job from start to finish. Do you think that that person ever used my dad again? No, because you're only as good as the last day. So how you conduct that escrow process, how you ensure that they feel protected, how you ensure that they feel informed, all of that stuff matters, because I have one client that has turned into over $1.3 million worth of commissions. One closing that he referred me as best friend, his girlfriend, his ex, like that one person has stemmed into $1.3 million in commissions. Because you make sure that after you close them, you stay top of mind, you continue to provide value with them. If at any given point in time you guys think, hey, this thing sucks and it wasn't worth the money that I invested, it's a 60-day money-back guarantee, no questions asked. I'll just refund it. Even if you want it just to get it, and then you can say, hey, I hated it, I'll give you your money back anyway. All right, that is it. Awesome.